Everywhere we look, we are surrounded by a variety of objects. From the chair you sit on to the books you read, and even the utensils in your kitchen, each item is made from different materials. But have you ever wondered why we use certain materials for specific objects? In this video, we'll explore how and why we sort materials into groups. By understanding the properties and uses of different materials, we can appreciate the diversity of objects in our daily lives. Let's begin our journey by looking at the objects around us and discovering what they're made of. One simple way to group objects is by whether they are edible or not. For example, apples, oranges, and potatoes can be eaten, while items like stones or plastic toys cannot. This method of grouping helps us quickly identify what is safe to eat and what is. It's a practical way to organize the things we encounter every day, especially when it comes to food and safety. By sorting objects based on edibility, we make our choices easier and our environment safer. Another common way to group objects is by the material they are made from. For instance, buckets, lunchboxes, and water containers are often made of plastic. Similarly, chairs and tables might be made of wood, while utensils are usually metal. Grouping by material helps us understand the properties and uses of different objects. It also makes it easier to recycle and manage resources efficiently. The world around us is filled with a vast variety of objects. From cycles and bullock carts to books and clothes, each object serves a unique purpose and is made from specific materials. This diversity is what makes our environment interesting and functional. By observing the differences in shape, color, and use, we can appreciate the richness of the objects that surround us. Shape is another interesting way to group objects. For example, round objects like rubber balls, footballs, and marbles can be placed in one group. If we include nearly round objects, apples and oranges also fit in. Grouping by shape helps us recognize patterns and similarities among different items, making it easier to organize and understand our surroundings. Imagine collecting as many objects as possible from your home, classroom, or even outside. You might gather chalk, pencils, notebooks, rubbers, dusters, and even things like hammers and nails. This collection gives us a hands-on way to explore the materials and properties of everyday items. By examining these objects, we can start to see how they fit into different groups based on their characteristics. Let's try grouping objects by whether they are made of paper or wood. For example, notebooks and books belong to the paper group, while chairs and tables are part of the wood group. This method helps us see how materials are used in our daily lives and why certain materials are chosen for specific purposes. We can also group objects based on their use. For instance, items used for preparing food like utensils and containers can be grouped together. This approach makes it easier to find and use objects efficiently, especially in places like kitchens or workshops where organization is key. To understand objects better, we can list them along with the materials they are made of. For example, a chair might be made of wood, a bucket of plastic, and a spoon of metal. Creating such lists helps us see the connection between objects and materials and also helps in identifying patterns in their usage. It's fascinating to see that one material can be used to make many different objects. For example, wood is used for chairs, tables, and doors, while plastic can be found in buckets, toys, and bottles. This versatility is one reason why certain materials are so popular in manufacturing and daily life. Some objects are made from more than one material. For example, a chair might have a wooden seat and metal legs, or a lunchbox could have a plastic body and a metal lid. Understanding this helps us appreciate the complexity and design of everyday items. Choice of material for making an object depends on its properties and the purpose it serves. For example, we don't use cloth to make tumblers because cloth cannot hold water. Instead, we use glass, plastic, or metal, which are suitable for holding liquids. This decision-making process is crucial in manufacturing and design. Materials have different properties such as appearance, hardness, and whether they are shiny or dull. These properties help us decide which material is best for a particular object. For example, metals are often shiny and hard, making them suitable for tools and utensils. Some materials, like metals, have a shiny appearance, especially when freshly cut or polished. Others, like wood or chalk, are dull. This property, known as lustre, helps us identify and group materials. Next time you see a shiny metal surface, remember it's the lustre that makes it stand out. When you press or scratch different materials, you'll notice that some are hard while others are soft. For example, iron is hard and difficult to scratch, while cotton or sponge is soft and easy to compress. Hardness is an important property that influences how we use materials in our daily lives. Some materials dissolve in water while others do not. For example, sugar and salt dissolve completely, but sand and chalk do not. This property, called solubility, is important in cooking, cleaning, and many other activities. It helps us decide which materials to use for different purposes. Just like solids, some liquids mix well with water while others do not. Vinegar and lemon juice mix easily, but oils like mustard or coconut oil do not. This property helps us in cooking and in understanding how different substances interact with each other. Did you know that some gases can dissolve in water? Oxygen, for example, is dissolved in water and is essential for the survival of aquatic animals and plants. This property of water makes it a vital resource for life on Earth. Some objects float in water while others sink. For example, dried leaves and pieces of wood float, but stones and metal objects usually sink. This property depends on the material's density and is useful in activities like swimming and boat building. Materials can also be grouped by how much light passes through them. Transparent materials like glass and clear plastic allow us to see through them. This property is important for windows, bottles, and many other objects where visibility is needed. Opaque materials do not let light pass through. Examples include wood, metal, and cardboard. These materials are used when we want to block light or keep things hidden, like in doors, boxes, and containers. Some materials are translucent, meaning they let some light through but not enough to see clearly. Old paper, frosted glass, and some plastics are examples. These materials are useful when we want light but also need some privacy. By grouping materials as transparent, translucent, or opaque, we can easily decide which material to use for a specific purpose. For example, shopkeepers use transparent containers to display goods, while opaque boxes are used to store valuables. Grouping materials makes our lives easier. At home, we keep similar items together for convenience. In shops, products are grouped by type for easy access. Grouping also helps us study and understand the properties of materials better. Grouping materials also helps us notice patterns. For example, we might find that all shiny materials conduct electricity or that all soft materials float in water. Observing such patterns deepens our understanding of science and the world around us. Let's recap what we've learned. Objects around us are made of various materials, and each material has unique properties. We can group objects by material, shape, use, and properties like hardness, solubility, and transparency. Grouping helps us organize, use, and study materials more effectively. Now let's test your understanding. Can you name 5 objects made from wood, or identify which items from a list are shiny? These questions help reinforce what you've learned and encourage you to observe the materials around you more closely. Try playing a memory game with your friends, but with a twist. Remember objects with a particular property, like those made of wood or those that are edible. You can also group objects by transparency or solubility. These activities make learning about materials fun and interactive. As you continue your studies, you'll learn even more about the properties of materials, including how they conduct electricity or respond to magnets. The more you explore, the more patterns and connections you'll discover in the world of materials. In summary, sorting materials into groups is a powerful tool for understanding the objects around us. By observing, grouping, and studying materials, we gain valuable insights into their properties and uses. Keep exploring and questioning the world, and you'll continue to uncover the fascinating science behind everyday objects.